All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the Week 1 edition of the Thursday Night Gridiron here on the Sports Insanity Network YouTube page. Football's back. We've got a whole crew. Mike Rifkin joined by the Patch Man, Danny Boy Reginald, Corpus Crispy, Big Brother Eric Ford, and Allie Wiener. Everyone, happy football. How we doing?
Hey, happy beginning of the NFL season.
That was
May the odds be ever in everyone's favor.
Fonzie impression.
I've waited for this for so long, mostly because the Yankees were doing terrible, so I just couldn't wait for the Jets to start. It's bad. The Yankees are doing bad when I can't wait for the Jets to start.
Yeah, but you know what? Just as we're getting ready for the Jets to finally have a winning season for the first time in like 3 trillion years, the Yankees win 8 of 9. So it's like,
I know.
Come on now, like what are we doing?
Because if you watched Bombers Banter promo, watch Bombers Banter. I made the joke that Reg is already planning the Jets Super Bowl parade.
But while they're talking Yankees, we will get back to football. You cannot see Eric Ford mainly because, one, Bill broke his camera, but two, the camera had some glitches, so he turned it off. So you may get glimpses of Eric, but he may disappear into thin air. And no, he did not turn into a ghost. There it goes. Cue up the OK Go. All right. As we mentioned, football's back. We're going to dive into opening night. We got Chiefs, Lions. We'll start with a little bit of breaking news. Not sure how breaking it is. According to Ian Rappaport and multiple others, Travis Kelce, the Chiefs tight end, out tonight. Will not play. So that has been made official. Dan, I'll start it with you. How big of a blow is that to Mahomes and the Chiefs offense?
Massive. Because now Mahomes, just the way he operates, not saying he wouldn't trust his other receivers or the other tight ends. He'll try his best to incorporate the offensive game as best he can. But Kelce is his guy and has always been his guy. So you add that to the equation. Now you got to put more pressure on Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes to try to make this offense work. On top of that, you lose Eric Bieniemy, which we'll get to, because he decides to, go on his personal endeavors to Washington. So you lose him as offensive coordinator to someone else. And then you do not have your best pass rusher in Chris Jones. So now you have to score on offense because your defense is not going to be as good. A lot of pressure is going to be riding on Mahomes, and it's a devastating loss. I mean, this is a knee injury. Right now, they're not saying much about it, but if he's out for week 1, you bet your bottom dollar he's probably going to be out for week 2 here. And if that's the case, I know it's going to be a longer time to rest because they're playing tonight. But I wouldn't be surprised if week 2 there is no Travis Kelce either. That's going to be a devastating blow for the Chiefs. For a Chiefs team that's trying to get off to good starts early, and we know the past couple of years that has not been the case. So yeah, that was a tough one to swallow when we received the news today that he was officially ruled out for tonight's game.
Allie?
Honestly, now just hearing about all these injuries, this game might be closer than we want it to be. Because originally when I started thinking about this week 1 game, I was thinking, the Chiefs, they're going to blow out the Lions. But without that offensive defense out there like Travis Kelce, it's going to make it tougher for Kansas City to score those touchdowns. I feel like, I forgot, again, who else was injured besides Kelce?
Chris Jones isn't playing because of his contract. but
Which we'll get to.
that's defense. I think that's really it. I
I
don't
feel
think
like
they're
it's going to
missing
be very like in the
anyone
Chiefs
else
side, you
major.
got to be defense heavy tonight because you don't have Kelsey. Mahomes is going to have to rely on his wide receivers and his running back if he wants to score well. This is honestly, this is going to be a tough game for Mahomes.
Big brother.
So here's a guy, all right? He's going to be the future first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. Now, yes, does this make him have a big blow on the game? Yes, it does. Travis Kelce is, again, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of Mahomes' favorite target, and a very most consistent target through his tenure as the Chiefs. I will say this game will be close, but it's going to be close not just because of that, but also because of Chris Jones not being out. You see, the thing is, the Chiefs, they don't really have that good of a defense. They just know how to outscore their opponents. And Chris Jones just makes it stop. But yeah, Kelsey not being there is going to be huge. I think Mahomes is gonna get sacked quite a bit because somebody's gonna miss some assignments. It's gonna be trouble, but hey, we'll see.
Bill.
This is going to be a tough one for Patrick Mahomes. One of his prime targets is out. This is going to be really this is just not good. This is not going to be easy tonight, and this game might be closer than we think. So, am I thinking it's the Lions are going to come and roar and not sleep tonight? No, but I think, I think this is going to be a blow to the Chiefs' offense tonight. It's going to be a huge blow. And on top of that, he's also on one of my fantasy teams, so it hurts me a little bit tonight. So,
You know who cares about your fantasy team?
me.
Only you.
And
Here's the thing, and then I'll throw it to the patch man. I think with the knowledge of a couple of days' notice, because Kelsey got hurt Tuesday, I think the Chiefs knew what they were doing. That they just weren't going to say he's out until now. That way they could say, oh, the Lions may have to prepare for him. So now that may make Isaiah Pacheco more involved in the running game. And for the love of the football gods, get my guy Sky more involved in this offense. I think the Lions lightly, but it's also better to have this injury now than 6 weeks from now and have it linger throughout the season. He'll get 9 days off after this, before their next game. See what happens from there. So I think it's smart to not play Kelsey now. Patchman, where are you?
Yeah, you have to play it safe with Kelsey because, he's your star tight end and he's Pat Mahomes is number one. And, it shows you injuries can happen at any point. We've seen it during practice. We've seen it during preseason. We see it during the regular season all the flipping time. But now it's like, what's the backup plan for Mahomes? Because you're out with basically your number one, your golden target in Travis Kelce. So now you have to maybe rely on the run game more with Isaiah Pacheco and Jarrett McKinnon to help you in the, in the red zone, to help you get the ball in the end zone. And then you really have to also rely on your top three wide receivers in Kadarius Toney, MVS, and another one that Rifkin mentioned, Sky Moore. Get Sky Moore more action, get MVS. I love me some MVS, get MVS more involved. And, you have to go with Noah Gray in the tight end position tonight. So he might have a breakout. You never know. So, but it's definitely a little bit of a backup plan for the Chiefs tonight without Kelsey.
Yeah, and I think there's a bigger thing. And I think, Dan, you alluded to it before. It's the loss of Eric Bieniemy, who went from Kansas City to be the offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders. That's still a stupid name. Get a real one. But do you think that, Dan, is a bigger loss for them than Kelsey, or do you think maybe because it's Andy Reid's offense, they should be okay?
So I think losing Bieniemy is actually bigger than a lot of people think, because I feel like he was, while yes, Andy Reid is an offensive mind, and obviously was a huge part of the play call. You can't deny that. I feel like Eric Bieniemy was also a huge factor into the offensive schemes. So having so Mahomes relying on him was huge in the last year's Super Bowl run. So it is a loss. It is something that a lot of quarterbacks, sometimes can make adjustments to. Sometimes they can't, and I'm curious to see how it works out for Pat tonight, because this will be his first test to see like if he can actually run a good offense, if the Chiefs can run a good offense without a good coach in Eric Bieniemy. And believe me, there's going to be a lot of growing pains. Yeah, I think it's a bigger loss than a lot of people are making it out to be. And the fear, I mean, even when there was a holdout, when Chris Jones started holding out, we weren't sure when they were going to start doing any type of contract negotiations. There was fear among that locker room. Everyone in that locker room. You can tell that there was some fear, because they know that he needs to be a bigger factor this season for the Chiefs defense in order to set the tone for their season, because I can tell they're not quite sure about the offense.
All right, Eric, if you want to drop your Dan Snyder line, you can do it now.
My gosh. Okay, look, man, Washington wins. They win. I don't care what's the Super Bowl this year. I don't give a dang. I did not curse. I don't care. They won the Super Bowl because Dan Snyder is no longer the freaking CEO, okay? That is a win. That scumbag is such a terrible human being. He does not deserve to own a team. He does not deserve to own real estate. He doesn't deserve anything. He needs to be in jail. He needs to be in a jail. He is just a terrible, terrible dude. And Washington is just, I don't even know I know the owner, but I just see nothing but positive light for them. Anyway, with that being said, Eric Bieniemy going on Washington, I think it's going to be huge for Washington, because Sam Howell, he's a 4th round draft pick, if not mistaken.
Sam Howell, I believe, was a 4th. I will double check that.
4th round. So this keeping has a lot to prove. And Eric Bieniemy, I think he's a good offensive coordinator. But also the Chiefs have Andy Reid. They also have, if I'm not mistaken, I'm double checking this right now. Their current offensive coordinator is Matt Nagy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and honestly, and this is going to sound controversial, I think he didn't have a good plan for Trubisky in Chicago because he was limited with Trubisky, where I feel like he can actually like expand his playbook a lot more with Mahomes. So it's going to be kind of interesting, or it could be like a Matt Canada situation. Either way, like I it's going to be a loss, but I think it's going to be a learning curve for Mahomes, honestly. So we'll see.
So just to double check this is Wikipedia, so I'm not saying it's a reliable source. Sam Howell was a 5th rounder out of North Carolina.
Okay.
Does anyone else have anything on Eric Bieniemy or move on?
I got no comment because I don't really know him as much.
Okay.
I'd like
Alright.
to say
Bill-
something, if that's okay.
Bill, do you have your hand up? Yeah, go
Yes.
for it.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you folks, coming into this, I was kind of, Bieniemy will be, Bieniemy, Mahomes will be just fine. But now, after hearing everything, I'm kind of a little split on this matter because Bieniemy was the one who basically molded Pat Mahomes. And we wish Bieniemy all the best in Washington with Sam Howell. We wish you the best. But the thing is, it's like, how is Mahomes going to react with Matt Nagy? You know, Eric brought up a very good point, how he couldn't really tap into Trubisky. Like, how is he going to do with Mahomes? Is he going to be able to tap into, we're talking about one of the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But can Mahomes just say, you know what? Okay, no Bieniemy, no Kelsey tonight. I'll be good. Or is it going to be, what am I going to do? I have a new offensive coordinator here. How am I going to work all this out? Like one of you said, it's going to be a learning curve. And I agree with that statement.
I just think
Sorry,
this
I'm a
is the
little all over
same
the place.
staff. No, it's okay. I think it's the same staff. So I don't know if there's a learning curve. I just think it's something where I think Washington gets the presence of a guy who knows what he's doing is big.
I'm here.
Maybe the presence on the sideline will be missed in Kansas City. I don't know. But if there's anyone who can do it, I trust Andy Reid, and I would trust Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see what happens. Patch, anything on Eric Bieniemy, or we good?
I wish Washington the best of luck this year. It's a long time coming for them. Hey, they're going to put some money in that stadium finally, so the crap doesn't fly around.
They
the
sold
stadium.
out week 1. They sold out for week 1.
They sold. Hey, it shows that Washington fan base is still there. They just hated previous ownership, and it's a new beginning in Washington. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, there is, I think, a Native American group gaining momentum on trying to bring back the old name to the
I
Commanders.
thought that was the fan base.
That was a Native American group.
It's a Native. Thank you, Bill, for the clarification. Native American group trying to bring back the old name, and you know what?
I mean, it's from what I hear, this Native American group really isn't that much Native American. It's not like serious.
Okay.
It's a bunch
But
of
it's
white.
I
not that
still wish. I
I
wish they'd go with the presidents, and then everyone would just pick their favorite president and have a portrait, and that's the side of the helmet.
now just so we're clear, the franchise has already said that they're not changing it back to the Redskins. That's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
They said they are still considering a name change, but for right now it is Commanders, and it's going to stay that way. It's not going to go back to the old team.
But they want to change the name Commanders because I think no one likes the name Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, and Dan Snyder, Josh Harris can afford it.
He's Josh Harris.
True.
Yeah, he has
Money.
billions of dollars, so he can do it.
All right. So we'll see what happens there with Bieniemy in Washington. We'll stick with the Chiefs. Then we'll move over to the Lions because there's been a lot of Chief talk. Wait, AFC. The AFC as a whole is loaded. Chiefs, Bengals, Bills. The Ravens are really good. The Jets added some guy named Aaron Rodgers, and everyone is already throwing the parade. Just ask Mike Greenberg. Dolphins are
Meaning-
pretty good. The Chargers are in this conversation. So, Patch, I'm going to start with you. Who do you put as the favorite in the AFC?
Oof, this is a tough question. To me, it's my top three: the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, and the New York Jets. I'll leave it at that. It's quick to the point. Obviously, Pat Mahomes will do Pat Mahomes-like things. You got Buffalo, Josh Allen trying to prove out and get a point to try to get past Mr. Mahomes and, the 13-second jokes. And you got the rebirth of the New York Jets, trying to get their name finally back to relevancy with the add of Aaron Rodgers, and they want to prove that they are the better New York football team than the New York Giants. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, first of all, Patch, thanks for trying to poke the bear here.
I will poke the bear every day of the week, my guy. So don't
Love
worry
you,
about
pal.
it.
Unless it's Cocaine Bear, we're good.
Hey, that movie was amazing. But anyway, I would say the Chiefs are pretty high up when you ask where they stack in the AFC. I would say they're pretty high up. I would put them in the top three, and I put the Bills there. Jets, I want to see what they could do with Rodgers. I want to see what they can do. I'm not totally counting them out, Reg and Big Brother. Don't worry, I'm not totally counting them out. But I want to see what they could do. But I would also put Cincy in top teams, too, with the AFC as well. So I think the Chiefs are still definitely top three in the AFC. But we got to see, how's this going to be when we just brought about Eric Bieniemy? How's Matt Nagy going to work into all this? What's going to happen with Travis Kelce? Is it just going to be okay, it's one game, he'll be back next week? Or could this be an extended, or this could be an extended
Period of time.
Thank you. I was trying to find the words. Thank you, Mike.
Communications major, can't find the words. Amazing.
Try diving into my mind and you'll find out why. Anyway, but I think KC is still pretty high up there. Pat Mahomes, best quarterback in the NFL, being the, winning both regular season and Super Bowl MVP last year. But, we got to see, are the Chiefs going to do it again, or do you think this might be a Super Bowl hangover year?
Eric,
I just want to say that Kansas City has never had a hangover year. This team has been the top team for since 2018. You're not going to see this team go down so easily. I just want to get that out of the way. As long as Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid is still prevalent in Kansas City, they are going to be the top team.
Eric, I agree with you.
Let me rephrase that to you then, Eric. Who's their biggest threat in the AFC? Ooh.
So, biggest threat. I'm going with I have three teams that come in mind, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals, the Ravens, because they have a good defense, and honestly, this is gonna sound crazy. Jacksonville. No, not Jacksonville. Denver.
Oh,
Denver's going to be a threat this year. Do I think Russell Wilson will be back to his thing? Not really, because they don't have still don't have any weapons on offense. But if Russell Wilson says who he says he is, Mr. Unlimited, he's going to make it work. And also, that defense is a threat. That defense is a serious threat.
Okay, so you said the Bengals, you said Denver, and you said the Bills. Was that the three?
No, Ravens.
Ravens. Okay, that's on me. That's my bad. Dan, what about you? Who's the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC?
The AFC, I'm going to stay out west with them. I think it's the Chargers.
Whoa, okay.
I think Herbert's going to have a massive year for them. That's for sure. I think the team's getting better, running back wise, receiving wise, defensively, and they could pose a huge threat to the Chiefs because they know the Chiefs are vulnerable because they lost people. It's not the same Kansas City Chiefs team anymore. So now pretty much that entire division is watching them, and they're no longer seeing them as a threat, but you feel more superior to them. So I feel like the Chargers, because they have a younger team, because they have a growing team, that they are going to be a massive threat to them. So I think the Chargers going to be a huge thing for them. If not the Chargers, I do believe the Cleveland Browns also have a major threat as well. I think people are sort of devaluing the Browns, which is a bad thing to do. Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback when he's healthy and when he's not doing stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great quarterback. He's locked in, and now he has weapons. And then up and down that Browns team, they're a playmaker. So if it's not the Chargers, it's definitely the Browns. I would keep an eye out for them too.
I love the fact that you mentioned the Browns because I'm with you. I think they're a team flying under the radar. I think there's a lot of love given to teams in the AFC that don't really deserve it. No offense to Eric. I think the Broncos are one of them.
That's fair.
I think Cleveland does fly under the radar. They're going to have Watson for a full year. Mari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Myles Garrett's one of the elite pass rushers. But as for a biggest threat, to me, this is the easiest question I've ever asked myself. It's the Bengals.
I'm going to
And
agree
I'm
with
going to
you on
say
that
this
one,
one
Monica.
time, and I'm going to say this one time and one time only. If you are the Bengals, don't give Joe Burrow his extension until after the season. Have him play this year with that chip on his shoulder because he's got ice in his veins, and he's the Terminator. Like, that's who he is. They have the best trio of receivers, a defense that isn't great, but it's not shabby. So I like the Bengals. I like the Bills also. I don't think enough people are giving the Bills a ton of credit, but I love the Bengals.
Mike, may I? I'm going to agree with you on the Bengals. I was actually thinking the same thing. You know what they say, Mike? Two great minds think alike.
I'm going to have to change my mind in a minute.
But anyway, with the Bengals, you got Joe Burrow, like you just said, you have T. Higgins, you have Tyler Boyd, you have Jamar Chase, the wide receiver around. And also, when we're seeing with these playoff games, it's like, I think we could be seeing this generation's Peyton versus Brady. And
it's very possible.
And how people say like how possible Mahomes versus Herbert could be Brady versus Manning. But the thing was, because they play each other every year because they're in the same division. What was so great about Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning is they didn't play each other in the regular season a lot. It was mainly in the playoffs. And I think that's what we're seeing right now between Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow. I yield.
Okay, so We focused a lot on the Chiefs, so now we're going to focus on their opponent, the Lions. And our lasting memory of the Detroit Lions of 2022 was in January when they eliminated the Green Bay Packers from the playoffs and sent Aaron Rodgers to Broadway. So, Patch, I'm going to start with you on this just because of how last year ended. A lot of people are riding high on the Lion bandwagon. Are you there?
Oh, I'm there. I've been waiting for the Lions to be good because I want the NFC North to be competitive and not just be a two-team battle every year. So, shout out to the Lions for getting good finally after 60 years of misery. I mean, not 60 years of misery. That's a little far-fetched to say, but, ever since Megatron left, we'll go. So, hey, Jared Goff is, still trying to prove himself. And then, David Montgomery's there. Amon St. Brown, going to help out there. Marvin Jones Jr., Josh Reynolds, Brock Wright. The Lions have a good team on paper, we'll go right now. The team looks good on paper, and the team just needs to execute when it comes to playing the game. If they don't execute, it's going to be another long year for the Detroit Lions. And, they got that year-end momentum. Yes, they weren't playing for anything, but then they were playing to knock out a division rival. And they did that. They stopped the Green Bay Packers from going into the playoffs. And they rode a high momentum going off into this past offseason. So all eyes are on the Lions in the North right now, along with every other team in the North, it seems. But bright eyes are on them along with Green Bay, especially with Green Bay going in now with Jordan Love. But
all right, so before we move on, I want to go around quickly on this one. I threw it to Patchy first, but around the room quickly. Are the Lions the favorites in the NFC North, yes or no?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay, Bill says yes. Eric?
Not my favorite.
Okay. Who do you have as the favorite then, Eric?
Honestly, I like Detroit, but again, it's Detroit. Again, prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. I'm picking Minnesota. That's like a safe bet option. But please prove me wrong, Detroit. Please prove me wrong. I want to see a Detroit game on Thanksgiving where they actually win. And that Family Guy episode will be a mock. It won't age well. I'm crying. You can't tell this, but I'm crying because seeing the Lions get destroyed is the same thing seeing the Cowboys get destroyed. It's just it has to stop somehow.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought at first you were laughing. Dan, are the Lions the favorite in the NFC North?
The toss up to me.
Okay.
I feel like Eric has got something on Minnesota. Now Minnesota is not my favorite team either. They showed proving themselves to be frauds after last season. But I feel like everyone's riding high on the Lions so much, it kind of scares me to pick them right now. So I'm going to say toss-up between Minnesota and Detroit.
I'm in. Jared Goff, mainly because he had a jewelry store named after him.
Yeah. Well, can you believe me? Jared Goff. Hold on for a second. This man got a lot of crap after he was traded from LA. Maybe he wasn't as good of a quarterback as everyone made him out to be. Dude threw 29 touchdowns last season and had 4,000 yards. Like, this dude, and look, this is with the Lions getting off to a terrible start. They started off 1-6. Remember that. They had an
Yep.
awful start to the season, and they regained it was an absolutely incredible story in that second half of the season for the Lions. So he gets a lot of crap. I think Jared Goff deserves a lot more respect because he's along with the ride of the young head coach, young team, and they're still trying to figure things out. So, and he still balled out last year. So I give him a lot of credit.
And he's up for an extension after this year, so we'll see how that plays out too. So, but I'm in. I think the Lions should be the favorite if their defense plays better than it did last year. And again, growing pains. It's a young team, but I look at the rest of the division. Minnesota, I think it takes a step back. One, Dalvin Cook's not there anymore. He got cut, goes to the Jets. Adam Thielen's not there anymore. He had a Thielen about that, so he went to Carolina. And the Vikings won every one-score game possible last regular season. That's not happening again. What did you say, Bill?
I didn't say anything.
I said, get out of here with
Oh,
that. You
I
said,
thought I
have a
heard
feeling.
something. So there's that. On to the Packers. I don't know what Jordan Love is, so I can't sit here and say Jordan Love's the answer when I don't know. That's an unknown. Packer defense stunk last year. I can't give them credit for anything. And the Bears, I mean, I expect Justin Fields to be better next year, but I don't, or better this year. I don't know what it'll look like. So I think if Dan Campbell can take his biting kneecaps off seriously, this team has a chance. And by the way, Dan Campbell, shout out to you, man, for trying to get the NFL to give you a real lion to have on the sideline. That is well done. So there's that as well.
Now, look, Justin Fields is going to be good as a fantasy quarterback. And that's it.
That's all, though?
Oh, yeah, He's going to be good. He's going to be a really good fantasy quarterback, and they're still going to win like 3 games.
Wow. Okay. All right. So we dove in the lines a little bit where we have them in the north. We dove way more into the Chiefs, mainly because of where the Chiefs have been and what they done. But it's week 1. So let's dive into the periscope of everything. Erica, I'll start it with you. What's a major storyline you're looking to watch for here as we enter the NFL season?
Major storyline as we enter the NFL season?
Yeah, what's something you're watching?
What's what? I can't say. I broke up there.
Yeah, something you're looking for.
I'm glad Reg mentioned the Browns being going under the radar, because it actually my legit bold choice to win the AFC North.
Ooh, okay.
So I think the Browns are either going to be first place AFC North or last place AFC North. No middle ground. If they're in it, they could win at least 1 or 2 playoff games within that. It's going to be a crazy matchup. Another thing I'm looking forward to is the Giants being in last place because they overpaid Daniel Jones. I had to say it. Going to be in last place over Washington, win 5 games. I'm excited for them. Go Giants. Oh man, and also Eli Manning's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. Next is I'm looking for, I think the Bills, right? The Buffalo Bills. They're going to take a step back this year. I was hyped about, I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl last year after the DeMar situation. That next game, they proved to me They barely beat the Patriots. The scores tell you different story from the game. They had very little motivation. They almost lost against Miami without Tua. Like, if this team, despite what just happened, if this doesn't motivate them, nothing will. So I think the Bills take a step back. I think everybody in the AFC East takes a step forward, and the Bills take a step back, including New England, including New York, including Miami. Again, I don't think this division will be as good as everyone says it is. I honestly think the most wins a team is going to have is 11 or 12, and that's it. And maybe 10 and 9, and like that's the highest I really see. So those are really the major headlines I am thinking of at the moment. And also, Pat Mahomes is going to win his third consecutive MVP.
Okay, we'll get to MVPs in a minute. So we could definitely do that in a second. Anybody else a storyline they're looking for?
Just for week 1 or just overall?
Just overall.
You know what I was gonna say about Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets, but after that little Giants jab, Eric, I'm not feeling so nice right now. Anyway, no, I think something that's kind of gone under the radar that I think people should keep an eye on is the Houston Texans, because you have a new head coach with D'Amico Ryans. You have a top draft pick with CJ Stroud as quarterback, and you have Will Anderson on defense and Devin Singletary. Sorry, Nate Moser, coming from Buffalo.
He ain't shedding a tear.
But no,
He's really not.
I think this is do I think they're going to make the playoffs this year? I don't know, but I think this is going to be an interesting team to watch as they take this new step forward. And, I think with Lovie Smith last year, I think that was a total joke. I think the Texans organization knew that he was going to be a bust, and they went with him anyway. So I'm sort of interested to see what step forward this team is going to make.
All right, Pat, you said you had something.
Oh, I have something. I think there's one team on a hot seat this year, and it's the Dallas Cowboys.
He's not even here.
Oh, I know he's not here, but he's been texting me.
I know he's listening because he's been texting.
I know he's listening too, because he's been commenting on the YouTube. He's been texting me. He's been trying to piss me the flip-flop off, saying the Packers are going to suck, and then the Bears are going to get 9 interceptions on Sunday, all for touchdown. I'm like, you're on something, buddy, but it's the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys make or break here. Think about it.
No, you're not wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all.
They go out, get Trey Lance. Now I'm like, oh, you know what's going to happen? If Dak flops, guess who's going in? Because no offense, Cooper Rush, you're not going to be the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I love you, man, but it's not your time yet for that. But also, you put Mike McCarthy in a hot seat now, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the Cowboys, do great, somehow win the NFC East, and then get to the playoffs and crash and burn like they've been for the past 20, almost 30 years, goodbye, Mike McCarthy. It's going to be a reset for the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, Cowboys, great team on paper. Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, defense, Trayvon. You got Mark's favorite player, Trayvon Diggs. So, it's a make or break year for the Cowboys.
Dan, anything you're in particular watching for?
Bills. They're always on my mind.
Okay.
Well, only because they're in my division.
And because you got to pay them.
Dang, I was going to say that. Dang it. Oh!
But you know what? Look, I'm I wonder if there's a true rift between Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. I don't know if it's real. I can't tell you if it's real, but I wonder how that affects their season. I also wonder if they're worried about the window closing because the Bills not too long ago were Super Bowl contenders. They didn't make it close last year. They got their ass kicked by the Bengals. Let's call it what it is. So I wonder if this is the season where there's a lot of pressure on them. They're not as good as they once were, obviously. They're still one of the best teams in the AFC. You can't count them out. Here's the thing about the AFC, real quick, before I finish the point. There's going to be a good team in this AFC that's going to miss the playoffs. That's the reality of the situation. That's how good this conference is. There's going to be a good team, probably within the 10, maybe 11 win range. Heck, maybe even a 9 winner, 9, 10, 11 win. That's going to miss the playoffs because you have so many good teams in this conference. Crazy. But just getting back to the Bills for 1 second. The window's closing and they know it. So I wonder if for week 1, if they sort of, because the Jets, their offensive line isn't that good. At least for what we know, we don't know yet. They still have plenty of issues that they have to work out with that offense. Do the Bills make a statement win in week 1? All the Aaron Rodgers headlines, everything about the Jets with the hard knocks, and all the expectations. The Bills are the favorites here. So do they make that statement win and set the tone for that division?
Let me follow up with that one quick question. Then. Do you think Monday night's a must-win game for the Jets or no?
Jets, yes. They have to win or else it's a disaster. But it's also a must-win for the Bills.
Okay, so you think it's a must-win both ways?
Oh, yeah. No question.
Okay. All right. So for me, I'm watching a couple of things. Can Trevor Lawrence take another step forward and become into that Burrow, Herbert range of quarterbacks? That's one thing. 2, are we going to see the end of a career? Because Baker Mayfield, if you suck in Tampa Bay, that's probably it. And you could go back to making progressive commercials. I think that's a big one. And listen, he's a storyline because of who he is. Aaron Rodgers is must-watch television this year because he's on Broadway. Listen, I'm not a Jet fan, but I'll tell you this. They've done a lot of talking, and now it's time to put up or shut up. If you don't put up, let me tell you something about living in New York. You don't put it up, the fans and the media will let you hear it. So, Robert Saleh, take that with your crystal ball. So, all right. So we covered things we're looking for. We will get to game predictions in a minute, but it's week 1. So here's the deal. Here's what we're going to do. Give me your AFC and NFC championship game winners, and then we'll go into Super Bowl stuff. Patch, I'll start with you. Who do you have in the AFC and NFC title games?
AFC championship game, NFC championship game.
Mm-hmm. And who's winning both?
All right. Give me Kansas City and Buffalo.
Okay.
I know I want to say the Jets, but the Jets have Aaron Rodgers and they kind of like build up their own little mini fantasy football team. But that team has to go out and prove to everyone that, they're going to make it to the AFC. I think the Bills are going to find a way to get out of there, get their heads out of there, and get themselves back there. But Chiefs are going to go back to the Super Bowl. NFC. That's a tough one. I'll go Dallas. I think Dallas is going to win the East this year, even though I just scrutinized them a little bit about 5-10 minutes ago. So there's that, and so there's that. I think Dallas is going to find
You
a
just
way
tried
to
to convert it to the ultimate jinx.
yes, just be that guy. And then the NFC, it's here. So Dallas and honestly, Seattle.
Ooh, okay.
I'll throw Seattle in that because Geno Smith, resurgence of a career, left what's in the past in New York away, and I'll go Kansas City, Dallas.
All right. Eric, who do you have in the conference championship games, and who will play in the Super Bowl? Now, who wins? Who's playing?
All right. I don't know if it's a safe bet or just a pure bias. I'm going with the New York Jets, and oh gosh, that sounds so biased. It sounds like
It's okay.
I'm going with Jets. I'm going with Kansas City, and I'm picking the Jets to win that one. As for NFC, that is a tough one because you could literally pick any team out of a hat besides the Giants and be like, "Yep, this could be it. This could be it." I'm gonna go with Dallas and Seattle as well. Honestly, I think Dallas and Seattle. I would say Niners, but I don't know. But they made it last year, so they're not gonna make it this year. So I'm going with Dallas, Seattle, and I think Seattle wins it. Sorry, Odops.
All right. Dan?
It's not going to be the Jets. It's not. If anyone has learned anything about being a Jet fan, is you sort of anticipate certain things, and there's until it actually happens, I'm not picking them to be any champion whatsoever.
That's fair.
I'm gonna pick. So I'm gonna pick the Bengals.
Ooh, okay.
Go back to the Super Bowl. And
They beat.
I hope they win because they deserve it. NFC wise, that's gonna be a tough one because it's an easier conference for a lot of these teams. I say the Eagles go back.
You have
And
Bengals, Eagles.
And yeah, my hope is that the Bengals will win. So I'll go with them forever.
We'll get to winners in a second. All right, Bill.
Okay.
Make this quick.
Okay. For AFC, I'm gonna go rematch Bengals and Chiefs.
Okay.
For NFC, I'm gonna say Eagles, and since everyone else is on the Seattle bandwagon, I might as well jump on it too.
Okay. Who wins that game?
Which one?
Both of them.
I'm gonna say Bengals and Eagles as well. That's Reg.
All right. So I'm not the man on an island. I'm going to go Bengals over the Chiefs in the AFC. I'm going to go Niners over the Eagles in the NFC.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
I'm a believer in the Niners. All right. Eric, who is your Super Bowl champion?
Bias bet Jets, safest bet Bengals.
Okay. All right. Patch?
Well, since I said Chiefs and the Cowboys. Side note, in a perfect world, I want Green Bay versus the Jets just because, I think that would be cool. So, in a perfect world, I want Green Bay versus the Jets, but, Kansas City finally does it. We finally have a back-to-back champion.
You want this imaginary story patch where the Packers be like, "Oh, we don't need Aaron Rodgers. What the fuck are we talking about?"
Listen. In a perfect world, imagine that
Well,
Green Bay
it'd be
moves,
funny. It'd be so
It would-
fun because the Jets
then
gave the block.
and then if somehow Green Bay wins against his old nemesis, and if Green Bay beats Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, Jordan Love is a messiah already in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Just saying. But Chiefs go back to back this year. We finally have
Okay,
a
Chiefs.
back to back champion.
And Dan, you had said the Bengals over the Eagles, correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna go Bengals over the Eagles as well.
Those poor Eagles fans. What would they do if they knew a New York Giants fan picked against them in the Super Bowl? I'm going Niners over the Bengals. I think the Niners get over the hump this year. All right. Eric, you said you're picking Mahomes to win MVP, so we'll just do MVP and then we'll do game prediction, then we'll get on out of here. So everyone else, who's your NFL MVP? Because Eric has said Mahomes.
I'm gonna say Jalen Hurts.
You're a closet Eagles
Oh
fan,
God,
and
no.
I want everyone to know.
I even said last year he should have won MVP. I even said that. Tell that to my poster, Rifkin. Tell that to my poster.
I had a poster once. It came to life and beat me up. Dan, who's your
I would have
MVP?
paid to see that.
It's Joe Burrow.
Okay, you're going, bro. Patch.
I think that bad man out of
Stephen A's not eligible.
well, Stephen A is not eligible, but that bad man out of East Rutherford, New Jersey, gets another MVP.
Mm.
AR gonna be a
All right.
four-time.
And I'm with Dan. I'm going Joe Burrow. I think Burrow gets it. I think he plays the whole year with that chip, especially if he's not under contract. All right, game predictions for tonight. Lions, Chiefs, who you got? Eric, I'll start with you.
The Lions are going to be a threat this year. I think they're going to be a really good team. I'm looking forward to seeing them play. The Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, it's free real estate. Man, it's a tough game, Chiefs.
You're gonna go Chiefs. All right, Patch.
It's the coronation of another championship. Welcome to the Red Kingdom. Chiefs win tonight.
Okay, Bill.
I'm gonna say Chiefs are gonna win tonight, 35-24.
Dan.
It's gonna be close, but for tonight, I feel like it will be the Chiefs. Make it closer than a lot of people think. 31-30.
I'm just hoping they cover. I'm going Chiefs as well. I'm gonna go You know what? I'm gonna make sure they cover. I'm gonna go 31-23. They'll cover. So I'll go Chiefs as well. So it's a Chiefs sweep. So here's the deal, everyone. Thursday night Gridiron will be on the SIN YouTube page. Sunday mornings we'll have Sunday sideline report. Every week that'll also be on the YouTube page. Follow us on the socials. That's where we're at. But Danny Boy Reginald, Corpus, Crispy, the Patchman, and Big Brother. I'm Mike Rifkin. Thank you for listening to the Week 1 edition of Thursday Night Gridiron here on the Sports